Welcome everybody to Inside the Cardinal Playbook, the coach's show for William Jewell College, and Larry Holley joins us to begin our show today. Coach, a couple of wins for you. You've won, I think, now 4 out of 5, but the big news was the long shot from Dwight Sistrunk Jr. to beat Rockhurst the other night. And we talked in another interview, that's the first time that you've won a game like that? That you can remember?
I think it is. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I memory fades as I get a lot older. But we've had shots that put games into overtime. But yeah, it was a remarkable shot and remarkable game. Rockhurst is much improved from last year. We're a different style team than we have been, and it was a little bit back and forth. And then we kind of got control late in that game, got a 14-point lead, and we're struggling playing with a lead late in the game. But Rockhurst came back to their credit. They have a player by the name of McCann who just put on.
He was wonderful.
He put on a show in the second half. He was 8 for 10 from 3. Let me repeat that: 8 for 10 from 3, guarding. I don't know that he had any of those that were uncontested. Had 29 points the second half, phenomenal. But anyway, they hit a 3 to tie it with 3 seconds to go, and thought about a timeout, but didn't want them to set their defense, and we were going overtime anyway, so I just didn't want to take a chance on turning the ball over, and Mr. Mosby threw it into Mr. Sistrunk. He took a couple dribbles and let it fly, and buzzer goes off, and swisheroo, and Cardinals go home with a win. Now,
in my time here, we've seen that happen against us. Drury, I think, sent it into a second overtime a couple of years ago with Alex Hall's shot. But what's it going through your mind as you watch the ball go through the hoop?
Well, I mean, it was, I don't know if the word's luck, but it's about time it happened to us. Mm-hmm. I told this story 29 years ago. Rockhurst did that to us with a player we had tried to recruit, and this player hit the shot in December of the fall of '84, and it's John Kiley who, after he hit that shot, transferred to Jewell in January and had a great 3-year career with us. But John hit that shot against us, and to beat us, score was tied. Rockhurst beats us at the buzzer, and it only took 29 years to get paid back with Rockhurst. But I told Dwight he couldn't transfer to Rockhurst. So,
well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
So hopefully Dwight's with the second semester. But Bill O'Connor is a dear friend, and Bill was on our staff for a year back in the '90s, and has just done a phenomenal job at Rockhurst. And I'm not sure who deserved to win that game. We certainly had it under control, and then they made a great run, got it tied, and then we hit that shot. But we have a drill that shooting drill that we run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talk about that
once a week. We call it 50 and a half, and we have half the teams at one end, half the teams at the other, and they have to hit 10 baskets at 5 different spots, and it's called 50 and a half because once your group gets there, you start shooting half-court shots, and then the first team to hit a half-court shot wins. So our guys actually practice that shot at least once a week in that drill, and I'm sure it doesn't hurt anything that he practiced it a couple times.
Well, I don't know how practice could improve upon anything he did with that shot, but let's talk about Dwight a little bit, because I see some changes in his game. I see him more in command, and is that just the natural progression from being a freshman to a sophomore, or how do you evaluate that?
Well, I mean, Dwight, obviously is a very good ball handler and can really push the basketball. He's got a special skill set. Not a great shooter, but he can score the ball.
Is he getting better at shooting? It seems like he's taking more shots.
A little bit, and but as I've told him, he could be on the floor and be one of our best players and never take a shot. Mm-hmm. I mean, my goal for him is to lead the league or be among the league leaders in assists and steals, and he's a very capable on-the-ball defender, and but he certainly runs the show. I probably have given him as much or more freedom than any point guard.
In terms of what?
In terms of just having the ball in his hands a lot and making decisions, when he gets into our half court. But I think he's becoming a better passer, sees people a little bit better. I think there's a familiarity with this group. This group is just growing together. It's very young. We have only one senior. So, but yeah, he is leading the league right now. Whether it will stay that way, I don't know. But very proud of what he's done up to this point, and hopefully he'll continue.
Let's transition into the game against Central Christian College of the Bible, because in 18 minutes of play in that blowout for you guys, he had 10 assists. And is that kind of what you're talking about, those kind of numbers?
Sure. I mean, I'd like for him to, I think he's good enough if our guys, the guy he throws it to has to make the shot.
Right.
We don't have that inside presence this year. The last few years, we've had All-America types in that low post, but we've got guys that can shoot the 15-footer. We've got guys that can score inside, but it's more the 3 or the 15-footer. But it's as I said, it's a different style. And I think this group really likes each other, and they're running the floor a little bit. And we're trying to create points off the break this year because we don't have that interior guy in the half-court set that we've had the last few years. So it's a fun group to work with, and certainly that he would get 10 assists in that shorter period of time is impressive. I think it's important that we play a game or two like that each year, so everybody gets a chance to play. The two guys that played the most minutes are the two guys that haven't played a lot of minutes this year. AJ, or Alexander Hudson, and Zach Starr, and they both played 22 minutes, the most of anybody, and they both played well. I'm glad they had an opportunity to get minutes. It's been a struggle, but not because they're not good enough to play, but because of the guys ahead of them.
Yeah, not only did they play, everybody in that game scored that you put out onto the floor, and that doesn't happen a lot. But again, that has to be kind of neat to see. Let's talk about a couple of those guys, starting with AJ and his skill set.
Well, AJ is a good player. I mean, we've known about him for quite a while. We found out about him through one of my former teammates, Bill Summers, Pee Wee, who was an All-American here in basketball and national champion in the high jump, and the first African-American to attend and graduate at William Jewell. So a dear friend. And he had recommended him. We had him in 2 years ago. He ended up going to a junior college and brought him in thinking he would see significant minutes. And the guys ahead of him have just performed very well. Dwight Sistrunk is a point guard, and Devontae Bell's a point guard who can play the two, and Devontae's averaging about 16, 17 a game, and AJ's behind those two. And it's not that AJ's not a good player; it's just difficult. Sometimes it's the people that's in place when you arrive somewhere. But he's a good player, very good passer. Gets the ball up the floor a little bit.
Saw that a little bit.
And he can score the ball. He can shoot the 3. He can score a little bit. So. I'm sure it's a little frustrating on his part, but he comes out and battles every day in practice and makes Mr. Sistrunk and Mr. Bell better. You
have a young man from here in Liberty, Zach Starr, who got some significant time, as you mentioned. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Zach had an outstanding high school career. As you know, for years there was just one high school in Liberty, and his older brother was one of the career scoring leaders for the Liberty Blue Jays. But Zach, where he lives, he went to Liberty North, the brand new school, and then they've been in existence maybe for 4 years. And in that short period of time, a lot of good basketball players were in that Liberty North school district. And boy, they came together quickly, and Coach Chris McCabe has done a great job over there. And they've gotten to the Final Four 2 of the last 3 years, so quite an accomplishment for a new school like that. And Zach was an all-state player and just a solid player. We're very fortunate to have him in our program because he had a lot of options coming out of high school as well. And it was good to see him on the floor. He had some injury problems early with us, but he's just one of those guys that knows how to play, gets the job done, and I don't have any fear of playing him. But again, the rotation is such that he's not in that rotation of the top 7, 8, 9 guys. But I know if he's called upon, he's going to come in and do a nice job.
That's Larry Holley, head coach of the William Jewell College Cardinals. They've won 4 out of 5, play against Southwest Baptist coming up this weekend. We'll be back with Gilchrest of the Cardinal women's team in a moment.
Hi, I'm Rachel Callaghy, Head Connections Specialist with Welcome Opportunities, the Northland's only target marketing firm that specializes in turning the thousands of new residents who move to our area each year into your customers. We are the advertising option that's never turned off, torn up, or tossed out. At least not yet, anyway. So if you're looking for the most cost-effective way to reach prospective customers before your competitors, give me a call today at 816-883-8633 or visit my website at welcomeopportunities.com.
to Liberty, just south of the Highway 152 and I-35 intersection. They're open Sunday through Tuesday from 11 a.m. until midnight and Wednesday through Saturday from 11 until 1:30 a.m. Come in any day for food specials in the spacious dining area. Happy hour specials are served from 2 spots in the building, and the service is fast and friendly. Tanner's of Liberty, just south of the Highway 152 and I-35 intersection. Back inside the Cardinal Playbook, this time with head women's basketball coach Gilchrest, who won a pair more games over conference rival Rockhurst, and then against Central Christian College of the Bible this week. And now a week off for finals week. How does finals week affect your team generally?
Actually, I think we're doing it the right way. We're giving them off today, and they've had off Sunday. But I also think it's good that the kids are practicing and kind of getting away from the study. I think you can get burnt out on that. It's really a stressful time, and again, William Jewell's really challenging academically, and we get student athletes that are really focused and want to do well, and so I know it's a stressful time. So we usually we keep our practice short anyway, but we kind of go through the time, get them in and out, and then so they can get back. But I think it's important that they get away from their studying a little bit too.
Were you? What do you say to the teams? What do you say to them about studying? I mean, you tell them that you better spend 3 hours a night or whatever, or what do you say about academics?
I thought you were going to ask me if I was that kind of student athlete.
Yeah, well, I was going to, but then I thought, I know how good of an athlete you were. Do you want to talk about what kind of student you were?
No, I think we'll pass on that. But no, it's really nice. The students that I have here, the student athletes that I have here, I don't have to babysit. They know how to study. Usually the freshman year, and I go back to when I was a freshman, you get to college and you have all this free time, and you don't figure out that you're supposed to be studying during that time. I think Jewell does a great job of kind of explaining that to the students here, and I think our upperclassmen do that well also. So I don't stress too much. I think I worry more that they get too stressed about it and maybe spend too much time, and I know that sounds, but I think you can spend too much time on it and get too worked up over it, and that would be more my concern, which is a good concern to have, rather than worrying if my players are studying enough.
Well, you didn't have too much to worry about against Central Christian College of the Bible on Saturday, but let's talk about the conference game first against Rockhurst. They came out, they seemed to be much improved, and again, a little bit of a slow start, but you ended up taking care of business in the second half.
Yeah, I think my players are going to wear me out with that slow start deal. I was looking at my hair, too. I've got more gray hair already, and I give them a hard time. We laugh about it, but there's going to be a time that's really going to catch us. And again, Rockhurst, I think are much improved, and Coach Parks does a great job with them. He's a great coach, great person, and those kids come out and play hard, and just looking at video, I can't figure out really why we struggle so much in the first half. I don't know if teams are coming out really on fire and just coming out after us. I know we're giving up some easy shots and maybe defensively aren't playing with quite the intensity that we should, but it's been interesting because a lot of times in the second half, I don't know if they get worn out, because I think we're in pretty good condition and we press all the time. We play full court all the time, and so in the second half, I don't know if teams are wearing out a little bit or if we're getting more into the groove of things, but it is going to catch us. We've been fortunate right now that it hasn't, and I think our players are playing with an extreme amount of confidence in that second half. But if we could play a first half like we do the second half, I think we're going to be pretty good.
You come out and you win that game easily. There were a couple of moments I thought that turned it around, a couple of players, and I'd like to start with Zinka Durich because I thought she had 7 points, a couple of rebounds, a couple of assists, but it was more than that. She gave me some energy and did some things. Yeah,
she's a great athlete, and you look at she's a track athlete also here and does well. I think holds the record in the 4x4, and may have the whole record in the 400-meter hurdles. I'm not sure. She's real close. One of the things that attracted me to her is just her athleticism. She hasn't had a lot of opportunity to play a lot, and I know that kind of gets her down, but you want kids that want to play. I would hate to have players that aren't playing that are satisfied with not. And that she handles it really well. She works hard and practices, and then you always tell kids when you get the opportunity to take, to grab it. And one thing that I think she's done well in these last 2 games that she's played is that she hasn't tried to do too much. And I've told her, my assistant coach told her, just run the floor. She's a great defensive player, and if you look, she rebounds really well. Great jumper, and she really took advantage of the rockers, and I think she was a key. There's some kids that came off the bench. If you looked, when we made our run, I think 3 of our starters were sitting on the bench, and those other kids came in and did really well. And you have to have that, for you to be a good team. And I think that's actually been one of our strengths over the years, is that we've had a really good bench. We're not just a 5-person team, and I think those players have some confidence because they go against each other every day. And I was really, really proud of them. And I'm not sure, had they not come in and done that, if we would have ended up winning.
Speaking of your bench, Central Christian College of the Bible, you played them on Saturday last week and got a chance to see a lot of players. It was a blowout win in a game which you did not have to come from behind, and that had to be kind of nice in its own right. But let's talk about some of the players that we saw in that game, and one that I haven't seen much at all, Cherish Walton. Can you kind of tell me her story?
Yeah, Cherish is kind of running some bad luck as far as injuries, and she got a concussion earlier and sat out quite a bit, and then earlier this year she had to sit out while we were working on getting insurance set up for her. And great person, really actually pretty handy around the basket, and works really hard. Again, there's some kids, when you have 12 to 15 players on the team, it's difficult to play everybody, and you have to have some kids that can buy into that role, and again, I know she wants to play, freshman learning the game, but I think that's one of the challenges of college basketball, and especially for those athletes. Every one of those players played so much in high school and was kind of the star of their team, and to come in here, and some of them get to play right away, some of them don't. It's an adjustment, and I think you always hear about those starters, but I think the teams that have been successful are with those teams that have kids that like a Cherish Walton, like a Connor Hazelrig, and like a Zinka Durch, that want to play, don't get as many opportunities, but when they do, they come out and go hard and every day in practice. And I can't talk enough about those kids, because without that, you wouldn't be successful. And I hope they realize that. I tell them that all the time, but that's a tough role. But it was fun. I know it wasn't a lot of fun for the fans to watch, and it may have been boring to some extent, but for me, and I think for those players, it was good, and for Central Christian, I commend them. It's not a lot of fun to come in, and they played hard. The coach did a nice job with them, and they were positive and worked hard, and so I think it was a good experience for both teams, and it was nice to be able to play some kids that may not get that opportunity, but you get at least see them play against other people besides yourselves all the time.
That is Gilchrest inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we'll be back with head softball coach Dustin Combs when we return.
I am a helpful smile in seafood.
We have more fresh fish flown in daily from the dock to my case in 2 days.
Hy-Vee is one of the only retailers in the nation with their own USDC seafood inspector.
We've got amazing seafood from all around the world. King crab flown in from the Bering Sea.
We catch fish and shrimp right out of Louisiana.
Oh yeah, this is fresh.
Look at it.
I am a helpful,
Sustainable.
USDC inspected.
2 days flown in fresh smile.
And that's my promise.
They need 3 to tie, 4 to win. Duffy
ties it up with 2.1 left.
Wow. Third for him. And Sistrunk.
Oh! How about that, baby? Two-handed mama jump shot. How about that? Nothing but net.
How about that, Cardinal fans?
That was a tremendous ball game.
What should we do?
Better call our shelter agent.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, you got a sec?
Yeah, sure.
We know what the weather is like in your area because we live in your area. Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Shelter Agent Kimberly Sidden about Shelter's competitive insurance rates.
A world without breast cancer is a world with more birthdays. And signing up for the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk will help us get there faster. The American Cancer Society invests in groundbreaking breast cancer research, and we're part of every community. In fact, 1 in 2 women newly diagnosed with breast cancer turns to us for support. Sign up today at makingstrideswalk.org. Together, we can finish the fight against breast cancer.
It's our final segment of Inside the Cardinal Playbook, and we welcome in Dustin Combs, who joins us from the Jewell softball team. It's some pretty exciting news for you about what you're going to be doing this summer. Will you kind of explain the entire situation, how you got this new job this summer, and how it affects your job here at Jewell?
Sure. Well, yeah, I'll be spending this summer as the assistant coach or assistant field manager for the Akron Racers in the NPF. The only professional league in the United States.
NPF stands for?
National Pro Fast Pitch.
Okay.
And, I had an opportunity earlier in the fall, was approached about the position, and after weighing it and thinking about how it would positively affect what I'm doing here at William Jewell, it was a no-brainer. Get an opportunity to coach with and against some of the best players in the world. So I think for me professionally, it was just an opportunity that I couldn't pass up.
This is a summer job. You're not leaving Jewell. That's the first question I get asked.
Not leaving Jewell by any means. This is just an opportunity for me to get better as a coach. Potentially provide more opportunities for our players. Just being around that type of pro athlete, I think, is going to make me better as a coach. This allows me to be a coach in the summer and come back in the fall ready to take over the program again, and it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Before we talk about what you did this weekend, because that was kind of exciting, but let's you mentioned how this could help your players. Talk about that a little bit, about how this would affect them.
Well, I think just me getting better as a coach, bringing some ideas. Most of the pro players are still maybe they're working as a coach themselves, and the summer is where they play professionally. Certainly, they're all a part of some realm of softball, whether it be still giving lessons or teaching the game, and so just being around those personalities every day, I think it's going to give me an opportunity to get a lot better as a coach and learn new ideas. I've never been an assistant softball coach.
Oh, really?
For the last 14 years, I've been a head softball coach. So I think it's really good to get an opportunity to learn something from other people. That Brian at UMSL, the head coach, without a doubt, somebody I respect tremendously, and think that I can learn from him as well.
You spent this weekend in Arizona, and tell me a little bit about that.
It was in San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio, okay.
Yeah, it was the National Softball Convention, and every coach that is a part of that association is in attendance, an opportunity to learn from the best, share ideas with some of the best, and be around some pros that I'll be coaching against, and kind of picking their brain on what works best to coach that level of softball. It was a great weekend for us. We met with Joey Arrieta, the GM of the Akron Racers, and you really always want to work for a boss that you think has your best interest, and she does. She is so passionate about softball, so passionate about this organization, and it was really nice to meet her face to face.
You get a chance to coach, as you said, some of the best players in the world. Do you have any idea who's on your team at this point?
Well, we have a few that have Charlotte Morgan, Lisa Norris. There's some great players, but we also have a draft coming up, and the intentions are that we continue to build the roster, and I think that's really interesting to me as well. Have an opportunity to hear how they plan to do that. The league is extremely difficult. It's the best of the best, and some that have played in the pros and the Olympics and have been in the game a long time. Some great experience on the field. So I look at that as being the opportunity for me again to be challenged without a doubt as a coach.
I drove to work this morning. It's 12 degrees outside, so it's not something. Softball's not something first thing in my mind. But season's not too far away. And let's talk about Jewell. How are you going to be this year?
Absolutely. We love our girls. They have been they have given us so much work ethic this fall. On the field, in the classroom, which I think is something that I've been most proud about. They've really committed to increasing their academics. the strength and conditioning program has, again, a big part of our fall. And we've got very athletic kids, and really look forward to seeing what they're capable of doing this spring. A lot of competition at every position makes you better. There's not one girl in our program that can come to practice every day and know that she's got a job. And they push each other, but then they're best friends off the field. And as a coach, that's what you really want. We've brought all of these girls here with an idea. And that is to compete at a very high level in one of the best conferences we feel in Division II, and but the talent is we'll find the talent. We got to find the right girls that can buy into our philosophy on chemistry, and this group, without exception, they do that.
Last year, the GLVC tournament, I think you would have gone a lot farther in the GLVC tournament and gotten an NCAA bid, but for some injuries down the stretch. What are your expectations as far as where you might take this team this year?
Yeah, well, as you said, we fought some injuries there in the conference tournament, but what we were still able to do is compete very well. Again, goes back to our depth at every position. And even playing some girls out of position at that point. But, we graduate one from last year's class. We feel like, the experience that we were able to get in the Great Lakes Valley and in the conference tournament is something that we can continue to pass down to new kids. We brought in 3 freshmen and 2 transfers, and they've all blended very well and really come in and can start competing right away for a potential starting position. So we've only regrouped and got better. I feel like we have all of our pitching back, but again, the game of softball, you got to roll out the ball and play, and we hope that we can take the momentum from last year, the confidence that we were able to gain from it, and be ready to play right at the beginning of the season.
That said, softball coach Dustin Combs inside the Cardinal Playbook, and I'll be back with a final word in just a moment. Did you hear me do the thing with the sucking of the teeth again? Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can hit stop on that record.
Foreclosure, repossession, garnishment. Costello and Farah can fight for you.
Are creditors threatening to take your property or your money? My office has helped thousands of people in the Kansas City area protect their assets through debt reorganization or bankruptcy protection. Call my office at 816-505-HELP and see if we can help you protect your assets and get you back on your feet.
The attorneys of Costello and Farah, lawyers who will fight for you. Call 816-505-HELP today.
Before the game or after the game, it's Poor Boy Oil Company for your pre- and post-game food and beverage. ConocoPhillips and BP Amoco Fuels get you to the game, and our large vendors give you great food and beverage choices before or after the game. Our small-town roots and family value philosophies help us to maintain the highest standards in customer service and value. Poor Boy Oil Company. Find us around the Northland, wherever the Cardinals fly.
What should we do?
Better call our shelter agent.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, you got a sec?
Yeah, sure.
We know what the weather is like in your area because we live in your area. Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Shelter Agent Kimberly Seddon about Shelter's competitive insurance rates.
That's going to do it for Inside the Cardinal Playbook for this week. Hope you'll join us on Saturday night. We'll have free live audio online of the Cardinals against Southwest Baptist University with the women's game at 5:30 and the men's game at 7:30. Our pregame show starts at 5:10 on the William Jewell College Sports Network. Thanks to head coaches Larry Holley, Gilchrest, and softball's Dustin Combs. We'll see you next time on Inside the Cardinal Playbook.